This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday the 20th day of September in the year 2019. Here is what we're tracking tonight. The largest party in the coalition government is of the view that the Guyana Manufacturers and Services Association must share the blame for what it called the hooligan-type protests against the president during the GMSA luncheon yesterday. Executive member of the People's National Congress Reform, retired Chief of Staff Commodore Gary Best, at the party's weekly press conference today, said the GMSA and its members must condemn the act of what he saw as a clear and present danger by some of its members during the event at the Pegasus Hotel.
The party's position is that the president was invited to a GMSA event, and the outcome of the event and the antics by the People's Progressive Party suggests to us with in unclear terms, in clearest of terms rather, that this was something orchestrated by the GMSA to embarrass the president. Beyond that, the protesters put in danger a serving minister of the government.
President David Granger's speech was interrupted by loud protests in the Savannah suite of the Pegasus, led by the opposition members of Parliament Juan Edgell and Nigel Dharamlal.
Freedom of choice and freedom of expression and freedom of association goes both ways. The freedom to protest and the freedom to persons against whom you protest to enter into public spaces, to give speeches and to continue their work. So in our view, in the party's view, it was clearly orchestrated to embarrass the president and to create a platform for the PPP to further embarrass this government.
Mr. Best said it is a true sign of progress that under the current government, no protester has been harmed during the coalition's 4 years in office. He reminded that under the PPP government, protesters were shot dead and faced water cannons and pellets during protests.
It is a true sign of progress that under this administration, no protester has been harmed during our 4 years in office. We have protested as the PNCR and the APNU, and we have faced water cannons, unidentified officers dressed in police uniforms, shooting into crowds in Linden and shooting at protesters indiscriminately. This is the progress people voted for and a clear sign of change.
And the People's National Congress Reform said it is urging Guyanese on the social media platforms to be cautious of tension in the country and to be mindful of hateful and insightful comments. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hi Guyana. I am Ambika Ramraj, Miss World Guyana 2018 and your GTT Pinktober Ambassador for 2019. Pinktober is GTT's flagship event aimed at raising cancer awareness and facilitating access to support for all Guyanese. In 2017, we raised $4 million. In 2018, we nearly tripled that amount. Thus, we have been able to continue our fight against cancer by providing support to multiple foundations such as the Giving Hope Foundation and GRPA. This year, our aim is to do even more, but we need your help. Become a corporate sponsor for Pinktober 2019. Visit our website www.gtt.co.gy/Pinktober 2019 for more information on how. GTT is in the business of saving lives, so join us now.
Experience bliss in an exclusive atmosphere as Universe boss Chris Gale celebrates his 40th birthday in Guyana.
Batman out and stunting. Chris Gale Kyle kick like dumpling.
40 Shades of Gale, featuring Kes the Band live and in concert. At the Arthur Chung Conference Center on Saturday, 5th October. Early bird tickets, $3,000. General, $4,000. Stage front, $10,000. 40 Shades of Gale. Party with the Universe boss, Chris Gale, and a star-studded cast of international cricketers. 40 Shades of Gale, featuring Kes the Band live and in concert at the Arthur Chung Conference Center on Saturday, 5th October.
All across our nation, Guyana, we see it in your lives. The future growing even stronger. GPTI, all eyes on Guyana. your eyes.
Fuel it up and win! Let's divide! Fuel it up and win!
Yes! You heard right! Fuel up at Guy Oil $5,000 or more and enter to win! Tune in to Jumpstart on 94.1 FM Monday and Friday to receive your call to win big! Check Facebook for participating locations and more details.
Protect your fuel system, boy! High mileage and performance, boy! Fuel it up and win!
Welcome back. Leader of the opposition Bara Jagdeo has indicated that he is disappointed with the end of February timeline for elections. The timeline was presented by the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Claudette Singh, to President David Granger yesterday morning. At a Thursday afternoon press conference, Mr. Jagdeo said while he's disappointed with the timeline, he still has confidence in the chair of the Elections Commission and is hoping that the president will set a date for elections in February itself.
And so I sympathize with the chair of GCOM, who has to deal with 3 commissioners whose every effort at every single meeting is to raise extraneous issues, ID card preparations, although they are not on a critical path, merger of data, although that's not necessary, and then the Secretariat issuing press release that seemed to be written in Congress Place, and some of the key officials absenting themselves from meeting, falling sick conveniently, all in an effort to delay preparations for elections.
The opposition leader who led a protest against the president outside the Pegasus Hotel yesterday said he and his party intend to keep up with the protests until the president names a date for elections.
And right to peaceful protest is one of those rights. They would see the difference when with the APNU protests, how they treated police or the harassment and versus ours. And so we will target Granger.
President Granger has said he hopes the organizers of the protests will be able to stop what they have started. In a statement this morning, the Ministry of the Presidency said it has taken note of what it called the hooliganism and thuggery displayed by the opposition People's Progressive Party and its supporters and associates yesterday outside and inside the Pegasus Hotel, where President David Granger was a guest of the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association. The Ministry of the Presidency said the lawlessness exhibited is not akin to a democratic political protest, but rather was a display of gross disrespect for the President, his office, the government, and the occasion that was being held at the time. The Ministry of the Presidency noted that peaceful and civilized protest action is common in any democracy, but it becomes a sign of worry when a presidential candidate and the former president, who is a constitutional office holder, seek to incite violence against the sitting head of state and ministers of the government during the execution of their official duties. The Ministry of the Presidency also noted that the events of yesterday go against the country's social cohesion agenda and serve as a reminder that the country still has to safeguard its democracy. Let's tell you now that the Bar Association of Guyana in a statement today condemned what it called the failure by the government of Guyana to hold general and regional elections within the period mandated by the Constitution, following the passage of a no-confidence motion. The association said the government is now operating outside the rule of law. According to the Bar Association, by failing to abide by the clear terms of the Constitution, the government of Guyana has abdicated its responsibility, violated the Constitution, is operating outside the rule of law, and in breach of internationally recognized standards of democracy. The association said it notes that in its judgment in the consolidated no-confidence cases, the Caribbean Court of Justice said that the meaning of the constitutional provisions requiring elections is clear, and it placed the responsibility of honoring those provisions on the constitutional actors in Guyana. The association said while it notes the court did not order elections, it was clear that it expressed its expectation that constitutional responsibilities would have been exercised with integrity in keeping with the Constitution. President David Granger has said that it is the Guyana Elections Commission that has to indicate its readiness to host elections. He said he has followed the Constitution and has not breached the Constitution. Meanwhile, the American Chamber of Commerce of Guyana, AmCham, is calling on President David Granger to immediately name a date for national elections, pointing out that it is supportive of the statement from the missions of the US, the UK, and the European Commission in Guyana. In a statement this morning, AmCham said it has noted that prolonged periods of uncertainty can have dire consequences on business and investor confidence in Guyana, especially foreign investment. It said Guyana's reputable standing within the international community will be tested if democratic principles give way to partisan politics. In a separate statement, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry also called on the president to proclaim an elections date. The GCCI said that given the GCOM chairperson's announcement that the commission will be ready for elections by the end of May, it notes with concern that the country cannot continue to function without a cabinet and parliament. Parliament has not been resolved, but the GCCI said business cannot continue as usual under the interim government with limited legal authority. And still in the world of politics, the Alliance for Change believes that now that the chair of the Guyana Elections Commission has pronounced on a timeline for elections, the opposition PPP should return to Parliament to extend the life of the government. The Constitution of Guyana calls for elections to take place 3 months after the passage of a no-confidence motion, or at a later time as agreed to by 2/3 of the National Assembly. The opposition would have to vote with the government to give it that 2/3.
The government has always wanted an extension since that ruling of the CCJ, but we have constantly been hearing that indeed the opposition leader would not want to do it. And we think it is very timely now, in view of the fact that the new date will be set, in view of the GCOM chairman saying that 20 February is when they will be ready, that we should make that public and as a party, and that the PPP and the opposition should go to Parliament to ensure that we get a 2/3 majority.
The opposition has repeatedly said it will make no such move. Meanwhile, on the heels of the joint statement from the American, British and European Union missions in Guyana that the government is now in breach of the Constitution, the Alliance for Change, which is one of the parties in the coalition, is making it clear that the government has not breached the Constitution.
In a democratic order, all manner of interpretations and opinions of judgments will come from all quarters. That the CCJ never ordered in its consequential orders that elections must be held on or before the 18th of September, but instead indicated that it must be held at the earliest opportunity when the various stakeholders are ready, one such being GCOM, makes this position of the US, UK and the European Union very unfortunate. Additionally, we remind all that the Chief Justice, Roxanne George, discredited the assertion that the CCJ settled on a drop-dead date of 18 September 2019 for the next elections.
At its press conference today, the AFC leader also said that the government has been upholding the Constitution and following the orders of the court following the no-confidence motion. Mr. Ramjatan said while all types of interpretations will arise, the reality remains that the Caribbean Court of Justice and the local courts refuse to set a date for elections.
Tired of long lines? Register with MyGTT at mygtt.co.gy. That's mygtt.co.gy to view and pay your bills from anywhere. Enter to win an Amazon gift card worth $25 US or a bounty voucher worth 5,000 Guyana dollars when you sign up today. GTT, do more.
Lights,
camera,
action.
The stars are here again.
Friday, October 4th at Bomb Court.
It's the annual champion party.
Featuring the champion himself,
DJ Bravo.
Introducing the Caribbean's new pop sensation,
Ariella Alexa.
A full practice session
with GBM Neutron.
Practice for the work.
Music by Trinidad's sexiest DJ,
DJ Anna,
along with the Boom DJs, Gully Raz,
Selector Diamond,
DJ Aquilo,
and DJ Hudson.
Champion Party,
Friday, October 4th at Bomb Court.
Securing the best healthcare facility for you and your family is important. At Balmansing Hospital, we take pride in giving you the best healthcare at unbeatable prices. We offer a 24-hour emergency care, a well-equipped ambulance, the best group of international doctors. Whatever your medical needs are, we are here to make sure you're taken care of like family. From eye care to dental service, the best, most experienced gynecologist, pediatric care, skin care, well-trained radiologist, and a trauma center. Our goal is to get you healthy so you can live a healthier life. Balwant Hospital, caring for you and your family by offering healthcare at unbeatable prices. Live, love, and enjoy life. Call 226-4279 or visit us at 314 East Street, Georgetown. Balwant, best healthcare at unbeatable prices.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Across the region right now, Caribbean News Service reports this evening that regional cash-strapped airline LIAT may be on the verge of collapse again. With negotiations between majority shareholder Barbados and Antigua and Barbuda having completely broken down, there are suggestions that only a miracle will prevent the cash-strapped airline's operations from crashing. It would, however, not be the first time that the airline has looked set to permanently be grounded, as back in April, Chairman of LIAT shareholders Dr. Ralph Gonzalez had expressed fears that its closure was imminent. Labor sources close to LIAT told Barbados today that they had recently been informed that the situation regarding LIAT had gone from bad to worse. The source explained to Barbados today that during the recent negotiations between Barbados and Antigua held over 3 months, the other shareholder governments made no financial contribution to the airline's upkeep, as they expected a decision to be reached. The airline's bid to stay in the air will be high on the agenda at its annual general meeting expected early next month. Well, the possible sale of Sandals Resorts International chain of hotels is back in the news, but CEO and Deputy Chairman Adam Stewart is playing down the report as nothing new. Sandals operates luxury all-inclusive resorts in several Caribbean markets, but most of the reported 24 properties in its portfolio are concentrated in Jamaica. Its brands include Sandals Beaches, Grand Pineapple, Foul Cay Resort, and Your Jamaican Villas. Sandals' main rivals are seen as the Ritz-Carlton, the Hyatt, and Four Seasons. In a few years, Marriott, which owns the Ritz-Carlton brand, will become an even bigger rival when it makes its debut in the all-inclusive market. The American chain has announced that it will be partnering with hotel developers to manage 5 all-inclusive resorts, 1 in the Dominican Republic and 4 in Mexico, that are due on the market between 2022 and 2025. It otherwise intends to convert existing Marriott properties to the all-inclusive concept, but has not released the details of that plan, the markets targeted, or the timeline for execution. Sandals and Marriott presently operate as partners. The Jamaican hotel company, which entered the meeting market this year after 37 years in the business, chose the AC Hotels by Marriott brand for the property, which opened in Kingston back in June. And finally tonight, international news. A week on, it's still not known who launched the attack on 2 Saudi oil facilities and from which direction, but the damage is plain to see. The BBC reports that Saudi Arabia and the US blame Iran for what appears to have been an attack by 18 drones and 7 cruise missiles. Iran denies any involvement, but Yemen's Iran-aligned Houthi rebels have claimed the attack. What is clear, the BBC reports, is that the damage caused is significant. Oil prices saw their biggest jump in 30 years on Monday, rising by nearly 15%. Despite this, Saudi Arabia says oil production will resume as normal by the end of September. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.